Hello and welcome to lesson 4, the last lesson of our class. Today we are going to talk about the perfect progressive tenses. The perfect progressive tenses focuses more on the completion of an action that is or was or will be in progress. Okay? Think about this sentence that I'm going to give you. This sentence is, I had been waiting for 3 years before my application was approved, or I have been waiting for 3 years by the time my application was approved. No matter how you state that, the focus on that sentence emphasizes the duration of the first verb, which is waiting. Okay? The perfect progressive tenses often answer the question for how long. Okay? The three perfect progressive tenses are the past perfect progressive, the present perfect progressive, and the future perfect progressive. Okay? Their pattern focuses on the present participle of the verb. Okay? Here's the formula. For the past perfect progressive, we have had been plus the present participle and then followed by for or since. Example, it had been raining for 2 days before it stopped. No? For the present perfect progressive, we have has or have been plus the present participle plus for how long or since when. Okay? For example, it has been raining all month long. Okay? For the future perfect progressive, we have will have been plus the present participle followed by for how long or since when. Okay? Let's start with the present perfect progressive. You form the present perfect progressive by using have been or has been, depending on the pluralization, followed by the present participle of the verb. For instance, she has been sitting in class since early this morning. The action sitting is still continuing, but the emphasis is on the completed part of the action. Okay? Here are more examples. I have been waiting for 20 minutes. That means the action has been done for 20 minutes. I have been studying since I was a child. That states when the action had started and that it is still going on in the present. It has been snowing all day. That means the action is still going on, but it was stated that it started at the previous time. Okay? Now, in all those sentences, the emphasis is on how the finished activity relates to the present. That means it's still going on. No? Now, although a time reference is not required to use the present perfect progressive, sometimes we use it to refer to recently completed action. Okay? Imagine your friend comes to your house with red puffy eyes. You might say, "Your eyes are red. Have you been crying?" Or if you want to state it in a declarative way, you can say, "Your eyes are red. You have been crying." Diba? So, let's move on to the past perfect progressive. The past perfect progressive emphasizes the duration of a past action before another action happened. For example, I had been teaching for 5 years in high school before I transferred to college. Okay? You form the past perfect progressive by using had been followed by the present participle of the verb. Notice how the past perfect progressive often includes the adverbs for and since to express duration. You will also see the adverbs before, when, or by the time used to introduce a second action. The second action uses the simple past tense. Okay? Here are some more examples. Okay? I had been studying for 12 years. By the time I graduated from high school, there's a duration there of 12 years and the action is studying. She had been living there since she was a child. There is a duration there that is since she was a child and the action is living. He had been teaching for 12 years before he was certified. Notice that the marker for a past perfect progressive tense is that there are two actions that have already been completed, but one action has to be done before another action has happened. Okay? The past perfect progressive can also describe a recently completed action. No? For instance, my clothes were wet because it had been raining. Okay? He was talking loudly because he had been drinking. Okay? That is a causation type of sentence. No? And let's move on to the last one, which is the future perfect progressive. The future perfect progressive describes the duration of an action as it relates to a future event. There are two ways to form the future perfect progressive. Both require two actions done simultaneously or consecutively. One is by using will have been plus a present participle followed by when or by the time and the second action. Okay, for example, I will have been working for 35 years by the time I retire. So there are two verbs there, working and retire. But the duration for the first verb, which is our main verb, is 35 years. That will happen in the future. The other way to form the future perfect progressive is by using be going to have been, plus a present participle followed by when or by the time and the second action. The order of the actions can be reversed with either form. So if you're proficient with manipulating sentences, you can do that. For example, by the time the plane arrives, I am going to have been waiting for 5 hours. Okay? I am going to have been waiting for 5 hours by the time the plane arrives. With the future perfect progressive, it is not always clear if the present participle verb started in the past or will start in the future. For example, the doctor will have been working for 24 hours by the time his shift is finished. Okay? The future perfect progressive is rare because it is difficult to know the duration of an activity relative to another future event. So you won't encounter this just anywhere. There is a specific usage for this tense of verb. No? And that concludes our lessons on verb tenses. I know that the duration of our sessions have been short. I know that it's still confusing to you, but remember, it's going to be confusing in any state of your study. Just know that you will get better at it the more you practice it, the more you read, the more you talk, the more you use it. So, if you make mistakes using verb tenses, do not worry and do not be conscious because everyone makes mistakes in grammar, no? Just keep practicing and God bless you.